Welcome back to the You Are Celestial podcast. I'm your host, astrologer and soul centered transformation guide, Lumi Pelinku. This is your celestial check in for the week of January 11th. This week carries a powerful initiation, one that many women will feel deeply, even if the words have not fully formed yet. The planets Venus, the Sun, and Mars all form a tense conversation with the asteroid Chiron. This is the place in our charts where healing, memory, and identity meet. Now, this energy is not meant to arrive to punish or overwhelm our systems here. It's here to remind us that we need to pay attention to how we are working with our self worth and also helping us bring it back into focus. Many women may notice that there's old emotional bruises coming up to the surface. And these kind of trances are not meant to reopen the wounds that we've healed, but in fact, it will help us ask something honest and necessary. So ask yourself, have I outgrown this or am I still trying to prove my worth here? The word of this week is worthy. I can't help but feel that for this week because we have so many planets in hard conversation with Chiron, the asteroid that has to do with our healing journey, and the ways we learn to transmute that pain into purpose. And we're going to take a deep dive in terms of how this will work with you and how you can best support yourself during this transit. So stay tuned. So, beginning the week from January 11th to the 13th, in alignment, Venus begins this story of crossing into a hard conversation with Chiron on January 11th, while the Sun and Mars follow after on the 12th and 13th. They're all combined and working with this hard conversation with Chiron. And it has to do with our self worth, it has to do with our boundaries, and it also has to do with our emotional dealings and facing it on with courage. So, since Chiron sits at the crossroads of pain that we experienced before, while learning how to transform this pain into wisdom, it's activated so strongly this week, and it asks us to decide how we relate to what remains unresolved. And this, in fact, will become the threshold moment for us. We will either return to familiar stories about why something did not work, or we may step into a deeper truth about how we will no longer carry forward the storyline that we keep living. This energy is challenging, and it also challenges our ability to meet conflict with grace, especially when the conflict continues to live within us. And you may feel a line being drawn here. It could be the moment that you begin to stop explaining yourself, or it also can be the moment you stop negotiating your needs. And it's also the moment you begin to recognize that settling costs too much for your well being. Grief may move you through here. And this is the one thing that may be the hardest thing we have to face here because Chiron has to do with us making peace with the past and moving forward towards a much better path. So let's talk about what grief means. Grief may move through you here, and it could be grief for the version of yourself who stayed longer than her soul wanted to, or it could be that grief does not signal failure, and in fact, it signals completion here. Sometimes the storms we walk through are the very ones that teach us how light we are and resilient we can be. So ask yourself for this week, where am I ready to choose myself without apology or justification? So before we move on to the rest of the week, I want to pause here for a moment. If this podcast has been supporting you, comforting you, or helping you make sense of your journey, I invite you to subscribe and share this episode with someone who may need it right now. This work circulates through the word of heart. And when you share it, you help this message reach women who are quietly rebuilding their lives and learning to trust themselves again. And thank you so much for continuing to support this podcast. And please subscribe to this channel, share, like, make a comment, as well as how you are dealing with your weeks. And I would love to hear what you have to say about what you've been experiencing alongside myself as the weeks progress. And thank you so much for helping this space grow. And let's continue for the week ahead. We meet January 14th, where Mercury in Capricorn opposes Jupiter in Cancer. Very interesting exchange here. This means that our truth meets the heart, and midweek brings clarity through contrast because Mercury in Capricorn invites realism, discernment, and grounded truth. And Jupiter in Cancer speaks through the heart and the body and emotional memory. And information may arrive that feels emotionally charged, but notice how your body responds to this information before your mind rushes to interpret it. And sensitivity here carries such a powerful intelligence that you have to learn how to work with because it can help you lead to much more resolution than you thought possible. And your emotional response holds the key to this guidance. Some women may receive an unexpected idea or a vision about their next step, something that feels expansive yet unfamiliar here. So explore this uncharted territory and be brave as you explore these feelings here. Let the information land gently too, because this is the day for reflection rather than immediate action. You're not there yet, but it's important for you to listen to your inner guidance as the key for you to get to where you need to go. So now, January 15th, Venus has a powerful message for us when it comes to our own values and how we approach love. With it being in sextile to Saturn, it's a supportive placement here. Whereas Venus will also be having a conversation with Uranus. Some breakthrough moment's going to happen on this day here. So the themes that come into play here has to do with the love in our lives, how we are aligned with it, and also the refusal to settle here. This day offers a quiet but meaningful turning point. Venus reminds us that love, whether romantic, personal, or creative, thrives whenever it feels safe, aligned, compassionate, and honest. Whereas Saturn stabilizes what carries truth, and Uranus will liberate what has grown outdated. And together they ask a telling question, which is, does this path feel alive or does it merely feel familiar? The collective is shifting, especially for women. The era of settling dissolves through clarity, not force. Remember that anything could attract anything. So whenever you are open and looking for just anything, that's when you attract it. Whereas energetic ownership attracts the fulfillment that you want. So then we meet Chiron again this week on January 16th. Mercury is in square to Chiron. This has to do with us learning how to listen instead of reacting. So on this day, you're being asked to be reflective. If irritation or resistance or emotional tension comes up, learn how to be still. These sensations carry information rather than intensity. Imagine that your inner voice is your inner child. She does not need correction, she needs presence. And remember that quick reactions cloud understanding. You have to learn how to react to these things with slow responses. In doing so, you will restore the peace. So now on January 17th, there's a lot of movement with the planets here. We have Venus in sextile to Neptune, Sun in sextile to Saturn, Venus entering Aquarius, and the Sun trine to Uranus. This, I would have to say, is the true beginning of the year. It will feel like a breath of fresh air because it feels like an energetic reset. If January felt slow or heavy, you're not alone because it reflected a clearing rather than delay. You've probably been hearing a lot around social media saying that there's like the year of the horse coming through, the fire horse. We're supposed to be feeling like all systems go, we're ready to charge ahead in our goals and all that stuff, but we're still in the year of the snake. The transition between the snake year into the horse year actually begins in February. So this sluggish beginning is perfectly normal here. Remember that this is a clearing. We're still experiencing the clearing here. And remember that delays are protection for you. On January 17th, this day marks the true beginning of the year. Venus and Neptune open the heart to spiritual clarity regarding your love and its direction here, while the Sun and Saturn bring focus and discernment. And this is the most pivotal moment of the week. Venus transitioning to the sign of Aquarius. It invites love rooted in authenticity and self respect. It also helps you become much more invested in love that feels free as opposed to feeling conflicted and confused. And then the day concludes with the sun and trine to Uranus, and it delivers a rare gift such as certainty. It's not going to be loud, but it's grounded. The kind of groundedness and certainty that settles into the body and quietly affirms, I know what I'm choosing now. So on this day, you're going to feel a lot lighter. And you will also learn whatever steps you need to take to help you get to where you need to go in the long run. And as this week comes together, I want you to remember this. This moment in your life is not about proving anything. It's about helping you honor what your soul already knows. And before we close, I want to offer you one final message, a guiding thread to carry with you beyond this episode. So I'm going to draw an oracle card for you, okay? Let's see what's happening for this week and what will guide us through all of these transits. What additional information do we need to know? It will be a message to support your heart, your healing, and the choices you're making now. We got the garden and the gates. The garden and the gate has to do with you feeling caged in. It could be you feeling caged in with your mind, caged in with the situation in your life, caged in a job, a relationship, feelings about self, anything that has to do with habits you keep falling into. You see how this woman is behind the gate? It doesn't look very high, actually. It doesn't look like really tall for her to hop over, right? She actually holds the key for herself to get out of this situation here, but she just doesn't know what to expect beyond this plane. It's possibility. There's so many beautiful symbols in this card. Like she's holding a whole basket of flowers. Like she is so worthy and beautiful, and she knows grace and beauty. She knows something of herself. However, she's not sure what to expect if ever she travels beyond the unknown, which is very reflective of this week because we have all those planets in square to Chiron. We have the Sun, Venus, Mars, all and Mercury, all in square to Chiron. Chiron has to do with you exploring beyond the wounds, beyond the experiences that you felt that was, in a way, deflecting you from your potential. And the way this card is, the guard and the gate, what's holding her back? And what's holding you back from claiming the life that you want? It could be you subjecting yourself to old feelings that may not be serving you anymore at this point, or old situations that you keep finding yourself in. Even if you got out of one, you keep finding yourself into the arms of another. It could be in a relationship. This means that you have to start rewiring your systems inside your body, rewiring your feelings around how you are approaching love in relationships or in your job. If you feel like you're not in a space where you don't feel expansive or possibility, like there's no possibility for growth or promise, this is a signal for you to research and investigate where you stand and also learn how to be more open and curious to the possibilities of what awaits you beyond this gate. It's so beautiful. It shows promise here for you. And take this message with you because for this week alone, there's a high possibility that you're going to learn that what it is that you need to restore the peace within the self. It's all about listening to the messages. And there's like two butterflies in this image here too, which has an indication that there's a metamorphosis on the horizon for you. And she is wearing the key around her neck over here. It's actually hovering over her heart. So it's factoring the feelings your inner self is trying to tell you, your soul self is trying to tell you, the ways of how you can get out of this, or the ways of how you can transmute this into something even better for you. So hang on tight and learn that you are more than this. You're so worthy of something better. And as you start pivoting these feelings towards this mindset, it will change everything about your life and its narrative, and everything will improve for you. Okay. I want you to remember that you don't need to act on all of this information immediately. You just have to carry it with you as a reminder of what you're stepping into. And before we part, I want to extend a gentle invitation for you. I send a bi monthly newsletter aligned with the new moon and full moon cycles, created for women who want astrology to feel grounding, supportive, and woven into real life. When you subscribe, you receive free astrology guides, you receive soulful reflections, and intuitive messages to help you navigate emotional transitions and new beginnings with such clarity and trust within self. And if you feel called to stay beyond this podcast, you could subscribe using the link in the show notes below. And I would love to meet you there. And please write a comment if you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, if you're listening to this podcast. I invite you to write a comment if you're feeling guided into this, how you feel about the transits ahead. I would love to hear your feedback. I welcome that. And I would love to grow with you with this podcast. And for those who have subscribed already, thank you so much for your support. And please share this with a friend. It really helps my podcast, my new podcast, circulate around. And if this has spoken to you, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I am sending you so much love this week, and gentleness and kindness and blessings. Okay. So thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for choosing your healing, your clarity, and your light, and continue to hold it with you beyond this podcast. Okay. And remember, you are worthy, you're evolving, and always remember that you are celestial. Until next week, see you then.